I was so excited to see you wearing that green, but I wasn't going to mention it. Good evening, and on behalf of my CEO, Paul Bowers, our executive committee, and the 8,000 plus employees around Georgia, we bring you greetings. It is our privilege to be citizens where we serve here in the Georgia area, and being a partner with the Urban League is just a part of that. This evening, we want to talk about the work of economic empowerment. It's never been more important than it is today. The Urban League depends on its stakeholders and partners to meet the ever-growing needs of the community. If we hope to continue making an impact, we need people at every level of our movement, and that includes you. Tonight, we want to recognize a long-standing relationship with one of our most ardent and dedicated supporters. We can become so accustomed to having our friends stand by us that we can sometimes take them for granted. We want to take this opportunity to say thank you for standing by us through good times and not so good times, through thick and through thin. For more than 40 years, Lawrence Ashe Jr., chair and co-founding partner of Ashe, Rayfuse, and Hill, has demonstrated his commitment to the Urban League of Greater Atlanta. Lawrence, we hope you'll accept the League's Legacy Champion Award in the spirit in which it is given, in grace and in gratitude.
Legacy Champion, R. Lawrence Ashe Jr.
Equal opportunity, to me, is essential to a successful future to our country. I first got involved with the Atlanta Urban League when my good friend Mark Taylor, not the former lieutenant governor, asked me to become involved, and I joined the board in the early 1970s. I served on the board then continuously for nearly 20 years until I required the Urban League to comply with its rotation policies and kick me off. I was privileged from 1977 to 1980 to be the president of the Atlanta Urban League. That's now called the chair, but at the time, the person running the Urban League day to day, who was Lyndon Wade, was considered to be the executive director, and the head of the board was the president of the Urban League. I believe that anyone who's interested in solving employment problems should get involved with the Atlanta Urban League as one very valuable, experienced resource in putting together jobs with those who need them. Well, I've been teased that this Legacy Award is essentially a senior citizens award, and that may well be true, but nonetheless, I will leave out dozens of people that should be thanked. But in the interest of time, I first want to recognize my patient, loving wife of nearly 40 years, Kathy Ashe, Representative Kathy Ashe, who has been very supportive and helpful in all I've done with the Urban League and in other pro bono activities. Secondly, I would want to thank Mark Taylor, who first got me involved with the Atlanta Urban League. I would want to thank Lyndon Wade, with whom I worked closely during our respective tours of duty with the Urban League. And lastly, I would want to thank my friend and subsequent president of the Urban League, Myrtle Davis, with whom I worked and enjoyed a bunch of shared efforts for the Atlanta Urban League. But that's leaving aside lots of people who deserve thanking, including those who've come and served since I was there.
Celebrating champions of job creation, Urban League of Greater Atlanta.
Good evening. First, I frankly would like to thank the organization for changing the name of this award from the Longevity Award to the Legacy Award. Being honored by the Atlanta Urban League, or now the Urban League of Greater Atlanta, is extra special for me, given the respect and affection and history I've enjoyed with the organization since the early 1970s. I mentioned in the film, but I'd like to say again that I would acknowledge State Representative Kathy Ashe, who got missed in the early people here. Kathy, would you please stand? And at 3 weeks from today, we will celebrate 40 years of her outstanding patience and tolerance. I'd also like to acknowledge our son, Robbie, who's here, and our daughter and son-in-law, Sally and Scott Wood. The, I would like to note that one of the more amusing compliments I've been privileged to get, and one that I especially enjoyed over the years, I was president of then Atlanta Urban League from 1977 to 1980, and towards the end of that tour, the then executive director, now president, was asked why it had taken 60 years for the Atlanta Urban League to have a Caucasian president. And with a twinkle in his eye and without hesitation, Lyndon graciously looked at me and said, "First one we found who was qualified." And that's one I'm very proud to rest on, and I also would like to take credit for the shortest acceptance speech.